My face is watering.
Hey y'all, this is Peggy Lou. So since I recorded this and did the editing, HarperCollins and the union have come to a tentative agreement, but I still thought it was worthwhile putting it out. So please enjoy.
Hi, I'm Peggy Lou, and this is my channel, Peggy Lou Who Reads, or Peggy Lou Who Reads. Welcome if you are new here, or welcome back if you are not. As always, big thank you to my subscribers. As of recording, 51 of you, and hi, Mom! So if you are looking at this video and you're thinking to yourself, wait, isn't that what she was wearing in the last video? Shh. If you are watching this video and you're like, oh shit, I haven't seen any videos from her in a while, I'm gonna leave a little link, linky poo, to the previous video where I explain all that. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, fuck, she's blonde, yeah, that's also in the other video. Also, Frosty Goth, what's up? The title of this video is meant to be a little bit clickbaity. That's just because of wanting to get eyes on this thing that I think is important and something that I care about. And with relaunching my channel, I wanted to get into some subject matter that was outside of just the normal reviewing books. I just want to go ahead and say that this video, although not sponsored because I don't have any sponsorships, because I don't have enough viewers, especially since I took a almost full year off from making content, but if this were to have a sponsor, I would say it was sponsored by Working Stiffs Everywhere. And so I want to talk today about the whole HarperCollins situation. So if you don't know, the unionized employees of HarperCollins are on strike, and they have been since November. And you may be thinking to yourself, Peggy Lou, why am I supposed to give a shit about that? Peggy Lou, why do you care? Why should I care? What the fuck? Get back to just reviewing books. And I'm going to give you my reasons for why I care and why I think you should care, and what I'm going to do going forward, and what that means for me and my channel, if you care. But you may disagree with me, and maybe we can have a little bit of a conversation about that in the comments. I may or may not debate people. That's my choice. I have a couple of personal reasons why I care about this, and then I have just my book-related reasons why I care about this. So my dad worked in the public sector, and he I believe at one point was a member of a union, or possibly more than one union throughout his life. I do believe in the right of workers to form unions and bargain collectively with their employers, because I do believe that workers in collectives have more bargaining power than they would as individuals. It is very much the case that most times we are working in this capitalist society that most of us find ourselves in the Western world, are working for big companies with lots of money, and in capitalism, lots of money equals lots of power. So I believe in the rights of workers to unionize and bargain collectively. I think it is what is best for the most people. And I don't necessarily believe that corporations are going to do the right things by their employees. It does not benefit them to do that. It benefits them to get the most out of their employees for the least that they possibly can. I'm not saying that every company out there is evil, but the system, I believe, incentivizes people to be jerks and to care more about money and profits than people. And I think that that is a jerky way to be. So, in addition to that, friend of the channel and one of my besties in the entire effing world, Patrick, is himself also a union member, and has explained to me over the years the many virtues of being a union member and what the union can do for employees and for workers. Patrick is a journalist, and he is a member of the News Guild, which is freaking awesome. And another thing that is great, because we need journalists, we need independent journalism, and it's the only way that we can live in a free society is if we have information about what's going on near us, around us, in our countries, in the world, so that we can make informed decisions as citizens, as voters, as members of democracies. Hopefully we are members of democracies, but we cannot be good citizens without access to good information. Yes, so thank you, Patrick, and thank you, union members everywhere. And so, we stand unions here, and we stand union members. The reason why this is significant, and the reason why I care about this, is because we should all care about what's happening in book publishing. Books are knowledge, they are sources of knowledge, we should all have access to books, and in the capitalist situation that we find ourselves in most of the Western world, the way that we get access to books is primarily through what is published by major publishing companies that publish the majority of the books that are available to us. And by so doing that publishing, they sort of control a large part of what information is out there, what books are actually available to most people. That leads us back to the topic of HarperCollins. If you don't know much about publishing industry, basically there are 5 major publishers, and this is mostly true for the United States, I think. Although, with the global state of the world, I'm not actually an expert on how this works in other countries. If you know something about it, again, comment. Correct me if I am wrong about all of this, because I'm also not an expert in corporations and structures of corporations and how they work. But basically, in the United States, there's 5 major publishers, and they're like HarperCollins, Hachette, Simon & Schuster, Macmillan, and I think Penguin. When you look at books, you see a variety of different publishers. Like this is Orbit, and Orbit I think is, I wonder if it says in here, but Orbit is what is known as an imprint of another publisher, of one of the big 5, basically. I think Hachette, if I'm not mistaken, or Hachette. I don't know how it's pronounced, but at any rate, so they're imprints of a larger publisher. So it's basically an independently run subsidiary. These big 5 companies went out and bought up all these little publishers, and then instead of just publishing everything under Simon & Schuster or Harper, they continue to publish under the little subsidiary known as an imprint. HarperCollins is, again, one of the major 5, and they're the only one in the United States that has unionized workers. I believe that the union has existed for about 80 years. I think I read that somewhere. Anyway, the unionized workers are on strike, and their basic 2 or 3 things that they want. I know 2 at least. So one of the things that they want is to increase the minimum salary of their entry-level employees, which I think currently is $45,000, and they want it raised to $50,000, which sounds like a lot of money to a lot of folks, depending on where you're from. I live in the Bay Area. $50,000 is still well below the poverty level here, and I believe that I know for a fact that HarperCollins headquarters is in New York City. $50,000 in New York City is also below the poverty level. Whereas in a more rural area of a different state, like, say, North Carolina, don't know why I thought of North Carolina, it just popped in my head, but in North Carolina, that might be a lot more. So you might be thinking to yourself, like, $50,000, I'd love to have $50,000, but keep in mind that we're talking about New York City dollars. So the other thing that they're looking for is to make it so that the union can collect dues from all of the employees that are classified under the types of employees that are covered by their union. And that would be regardless of whether or not they actually were a member of the union. And you may think, why should they be able to collect dollars from folks that don't want to be in the union? The reason why this is important is that this is a way that companies, corporations engage in union busting, right? So they play the employees off of each other, and they say to the employees, like, you don't really want to join the union. They just want to take your money. And especially when they want to collect dues, even if you're not interested in being an active member and participating in the union, they'll say, look, they just want to take your money. But they do this to pit the workers against each other and to prevent them from engaging with the union and wanting to join the union. And then the union has less bargaining power when they have fewer members. And also they have less money in order to work together as the union. So they can't do things like help to cover costs for workers when they're striking, and they can't use money to pay for lawyers and negotiators to help negotiate salary increases, benefit, not even increases. Like in a lot of cases, the unions are having to fight for all the employees just to be able to have and maintain the same level of benefits, the same level of salary. So the thing is that the union, whether or not you are actually participating in it, is benefiting you. If there is a union in your workplace and you aren't a member of it, you still benefit from it, because usually the negotiations that the unions do are benefiting you. Like when they negotiate, they don't just negotiate for the union members to have a base salary of $50,000. They negotiate for all entry-level employees to have a base salary of $50,000. When they negotiate for the company to keep the benefits at the same cost for the employees and the same level of coverage, that applies to all employees, not just the members of the union. So that's why it's important to have the ability to collect dues, not just from the members of the union, but all the people that are of that class of employee that is unionized. There was one other thing that I believe that was part of their demands, or what they were looking for and why they were striking, but I can't remember what it was right now.
Editing, Peggy Lou. It was diversity and inclusion programs. That was the third thing.
I will post some articles down below in the description about what it is that they're striking over, and also some more news articles about what HarperCollins has been up to recently while not negotiating to end this strike. One thing is that they have recently announced that they're going to have layoffs, but at the same time that they're announcing that they're going to have layoffs, they continue to sign big publishing deals with celebrity authors, and most recently it was announced that their CEO, who I'm sure is still making $1 bajillion, will be speaking at a big publishing conference as the keynote speaker. I'm sure that they will be fronting the cost for that as well, and have no problem with that. But yeah, they don't want to give entry-level employees, again, in New York City, a $5,000 raise on their minimum hire salary. I'll put some more links down in the description about that, and some information about some of their recent deals. I know that Jess Owens recently put out a video where she talked about this a little bit, and so I will also put a link down to her video in the description so that you can learn more about that. As far as how this affects me and what I'm going to do about it, I am not a strike busting, picket line crossing type of person, because I support unions and I support workers' rights to unionize. And so, in that vein, I have made a decision on this channel that as long as there is a strike going on, that I will not be covering any HarperCollins books. In the past, I never paid attention to who published the books I read. But this really, to me, highlighted the importance of that. Now, you may or may not agree with consumer activism, as I guess it's what it's called when you like protest with your dollars, but I figure it is the least I can do. So I'm not going to cover any books published by HarperCollins, which means I'm not going to mention them in any TBRs or review videos. If I read any of the books that I own already that are published by HarperCollins, I won't cover them here. I won't post reviews on Goodreads. I won't post reviews on Storygraph. I just won't talk about any HarperCollins published books for the duration of the strike. I also went through the shelves that are behind me and looked for any books that were published by HarperCollins and removed them from view because, again, I don't want anybody to see them in the background, and I don't want to be responsible for people going out and purchasing those books right now. I don't want to be promoting them, even tacitly, by having them on a shelf behind me. I also have gone through my wish list, which is posted in the description box and which you are under no obligation to look at, to purchase me anything, nothing like that, but I did put it down there, and I went through and removed all of the HarperCollins books that were in there because I don't want anybody buying any HarperCollins books. If there's a HarperCollins book, you won't see it here. I'm not going to do that. And so for the duration, that's my stance. So what do you think about this HarperCollins situation? Do you care at all? Do you think that I'm silly for not wanting to purchase their books or show their books on my channel? Do you think I'm doing a good thing? What do you think? As a book community, as book lovers, love to hear your opinions. May have to just disagree about things. I don't like this statement. Agree to disagree. I feel like that's passive aggressive. I will just straight up disagree with you. Would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Yeah. And what do you think about me covering some more of these topics that aren't specifically just book reviews? Do you want to hear more of my just random thoughts about books, book industry, book publishing, etc.? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for your support, and it's good to be back here on BookTube. I've missed you all. Until next time, read well. Can you hear that? Can you hear that fuss? It's all just dramatic. No one is being neglected or abused right now. They're just not allowed in the room where I'm at right now. I'm probably even going to cut this whole bit out. But